We've got the return of the Big Ten. We're going to get into that in a little bit. We've got the biggest game in the NFL, maybe of the season so far. Honestly, when you consider the context, 2 undefeated teams this far into the season doesn't happen very often. We've got the Titans going up against the Steelers in Nashville. I will be on the road in Knoxville watching the University of Tennessee host Alabama. I expect an absolute bloodbath with the Tide rolling all over the Vols for a 14th straight season, which is crazy for me to be saying. Honestly, it's wild to me that it has been that long since Tennessee beat Alabama. And as a part of that, we will be having, hopefully, a fun time around that. And we're doing, if you're familiar at all with the Knoxville area or you're listening to us and you're going to be there for the game, and I still think, it's not 100,000 people, but there will still be 25,000 people in the stadium. We're going to do an event in the parking lot of Calhoun's, which is a restaurant on the river in downtown Knoxville from 1 to 3 Eastern. So if you're going to be in Knoxville and you want to swing by and check us out, I know I'm going to be answering questions from my buddy Chad Withrow. We're going to be right there on the Tennessee River. Maybe a little bit of a messy weather situation. Not sure. Looks like some rain may be coming in, but we'll try to make the most of it. And we're trying to get back to some form of normalcy with what hopefully will be a fun pregame tailgate event from 1 to 3 Eastern in the Calhoun's parking lot. You'll be able to see us. It'll be an Outkick event. So that is going on. And those of you out there who are regular listeners to the program know that on Friday I like to bring in Dub, and we like to do our draft of the best games that are going on this weekend, both college and NFL. And I'm going to start it off and start in the NFL. And the game that I'm going to draft is not going to be a surprise to very many people. It is the Steelers on the road against the Titans. Now, there's a couple of things that I think are fascinating about this story in general. But in particular, it's rare to have this kind of situation where it's NFL Week 7 or later, and you have 2 undefeated teams. In fact, and this is pretty wild, this has only happened 7 times so far in the history of the NFL that we get 2 undefeated teams playing in Week 7 or later. Now, I thought this was kind of interesting, so I thought I'd run through it because a lot of these teams I've never heard of. Back in 1921, we had the Akron Pros going up against the Buffalo All-Americans. And if I know anything about the Akron Pros back in the day, it was they were a little bit suspect on the offensive side of the ball. And the Buffalo All-Americans, sometimes they couldn't take advantage of poor offenses. And so and by the way, I'm making all that up. As a result, the teams ended up in a 0-0 tie. All right, so back in 1921, the Akron Pros and the Buffalo All-Americans played to a tie. How about the next time? 1923, the Canton Bulldogs, who went on and won the league championship that year, were playing against the Chicago Cardinals. And the Canton Bulldogs went on the road. And if you know anything about this Canton Bulldogs team, it was really hard for them to be intimidated by any kind of road environment. And they won 7-3. And then we fast forward 50 years to the modern day NFL. And in October of 1973, the 6-0 Rams went up against the 6-0 Minnesota Vikings, and the Vikings found a way to win 10-9. All right, I think this is kind of interesting. From a historical perspective, it doesn't happen very often. Then we jump another 30 years into the future, and some of you out there may start to remember some of these games. The Jets. It was fonder times for the Jets in these days at the Patriots. They were both 5-0. And the Patriots won 13-7. Then in 2007, the Patriots, again, at the Dallas Cowboys. They were both 5-0. The Patriots won 48-27. And then in 2007, we had the Patriots, and I believe, Dub, you can look that up. I think the 2007 Patriots, was that the Randy Moss Patriots team that tried to go undefeated? I think it might have been.
That's the one.
That's the one. All right. The Patriots that year were 8-0, and I remember this game. I just remember how big it was. And they were going up against the Indianapolis Colts, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, and the Patriots found a way to win 24-20. That was a late in the season, relatively speaking, game when both the Patriots and the Colts were undefeated. And then in 2015, the Packers 6-0 at the 6-0 Denver Broncos, and the Broncos spanked them. That was Aaron Rodgers against, I believe, Peyton Manning. So all of those games, it doesn't happen very often. And so putting that into context, what we're talking about, if anything, I think this game may be a little bit underhyped, and we may not be giving enough props to it because I'm really excited to see what's going to happen. An early teaser, this is going to be in my Outkick six-pack. I'm not going to tell you exactly what the score is going to be because I don't want to give away the Outkick six-pack, which we always give out in the final segment of Friday's show. But I'm fairly optimistic this is going to be a really good football game. I can't wait to watch. I'm actually not going to be able to attend this game because I'll be in Knoxville for the Tennessee-Alabama game. And I've been to the last two Titans games, but I think this one comes down to the wire. I think it's by far the best game of the NFL weekend as I just ran through all of the other games that have been taking place with undefeated teams involved. You can tell it is a rare occurrence. This could be an AFC Championship game preview. Both teams dealing with substantial injuries. You've got Taylor Lewan, who is out for what is going to be the rest of the season with an ACL tear on the Titans' offensive line at left tackle. You've got Devin Bush, who is basically the linchpin of that really, really talented Pittsburgh Steelers defense, and now he is out for the season as well. Both teams coming off of pretty good runs that they've been on, obviously, to get to 5-0. The Pittsburgh Steelers have not been 4-0 or better, now 5-0 since the 1970s. The Titans have only been 5-0 once before. And so this is going to be a real rumble. I can't wait to see what's going to happen. I think it's the best game in the NFL. I think even you would acknowledge that, Dub. And, of course, I got the advantage of drafting first, which is why I took it. What would you say about this battle between the Titans and the Steelers? How good do you expect it to be? And what game would you counter me with as being another one that is interesting or worthy of drafting to watch this weekend?
I don't think there's any question that the game you selected is by far the best on the board. Two undefeated teams. Ryan Tannehill been playing out of his mind. I'll be curious to see how he fares against the Steelers defense. That is, I think it's the reason you put them at number one in your
That's right.
power rankings this week. And it's hard to disagree with that. So Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill, we'll see what they can come up with against in a game of two undefeated teams. I'm going to go to Sunday Night Football, a game that was originally supposed to be, I believe, during the day, and then with the Raiders' COVID scares, it got flexed up to Sunday Night Football, and that's the Seahawks and the Cardinals. And this is a battle between two undersized quarterbacks. A lot of people compare Kyler Murray to his counterpart on Sunday Night Football, Russell Wilson, and I'm excited for this one. Now, you might automatically think, hey, this is going to be a shootout. The Cardinals and the Seahawks, two, high-flying offenses, but the Cardinals this season, they're the only team in the NFL that hasn't had a game go over the total so far, which is pretty shocking when you consider the amount of points that have been scored left and right this season. So I would not be surprised if this game is a bit lower scoring than some people might imagine. And Arizona getting some points at home, they've been playing really well. We saw the absolute beatdown that they put on the Cowboys and Andy Dalton. So they're a pretty hot team. Seattle, I don't know how they do it, but the last couple of seasons, they just win games somehow, some way with Russell Wilson. And a lot of the times it's games they really have no business winning. So I think this is going to be a tight game. And I think it's going to end up like these Seahawks games usually end up, and that's Russell Wilson making plays late. It should be an exciting one on Sunday Night Football.
All right, so the NFL picks, clearly the Steelers on the road against the Titans. And by the way, I don't know why that game didn't get flexed into the night, honestly.
Great point.
If you were the NFL right now, why would you not flex the battle of two 5-0 teams into primetime? I just don't understand. And maybe there's something to do that I'm not sophisticated enough from a television market perspective. Maybe they were already out west and the crew, it was easier to get them to a Western game. I don't know exactly, but it seems very strange to me that you would make the decision to not put the Titans and the Steelers in primetime, given how rare a matchup of two 5-0 teams is. But I'm happy to have it played at 1 o'clock Eastern. Let's dive into college football now. Dub, I will let you make the first selection in the college football firmament there and all the schedule. Who would you take?
Well, the Big Ten is back this weekend, so I feel it's only right to have a Big Ten matchup be the number one pick in our college football game draft, and I'm going with Michigan and Minnesota. This is a game between two ranked teams coming in, And here's a fun fact for you. This would probably, you wouldn't expect this. When Michigan plays Minnesota on Saturday, it will be the first time that Jim Harbaugh opens up a season as the head coach at Michigan with a starting quarterback that he recruited out of high school.
It's wild.
It's an amazing stat, and it's really, it's remarkable. I would have never thought that could even be possible, but here we are. So Michigan, new quarterback, a lot of guys out, a lot of new guys coming in. And Minnesota, I would know better than most because Minnesota put an absolute beatdown on Auburn last year in the Outback Bowl. This is a good team, and they're at home, and somehow they're getting 3 points. I don't really understand that at all because Minnesota's got some players coming back with their quarterback Tanner Morgan, wide receiver Rashad Bateman. He's a player. He's probably going to be a first-round pick. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. Big Ten's back, and I think this is the game of the week in college football.
It's first of all, I agree with you, and I was actually talking with the Outkick crew today, and I was saying we haven't never done a documentary before. We interviewed the president. We were growing and getting bigger and better every single day. It's a big undertaking to do an actual documentary, but I think the story of how college football was saved when everybody gave it up for dead is one that needs to be told, and I think there are a lot of commissioners. I think there are a lot of people that were battling inside of commissioners' offices. I think it needs to be told, including from the President of the United States all the way through the Commissioner of the Big Ten, Kevin Warren, Commissioner of the SEC, Greg Sankey. So I'm just excited, and congratulations to all the Big Ten fans out there. And if you're new to this show, you missed several months of me battling as hard as I possibly could on behalf of the Big Ten being able to play. So I'm with you. I also agree that basically the draft pick in college football this weekend in honor of the Big Ten players, administrators, coaches, parents, fans, everybody refusing to acquiesce when the season was canceled and making the decision to fight for it and actually winning that battle is pretty remarkable that we are here. So I am going to draft another Big Ten game, and in particular, I'm not sure how good this game is going to be, but I just want to salute Nebraska and also Ohio State, Scott Frost, Ryan Day, for fighting as hard as they possibly can to make this season happen. And I am just thrilled, regardless of what happens, that the Big Ten season is going to happen and that the Pac-12 and the Mountain West and the MAC all got in line and readjusted their decision-making when they finally had sense brought to them and brought to bear. So I'll say that one, and I'll give an honorable mention to a game, and I'm sorry for bringing this up for all the Indiana people out there, but Indiana loses more games in excruciating fashion than almost any program in college football. And I think their game against Penn State is going to be another nail-biter that, unfortunately, I think for the Hoosiers is not going to go on their side because I think Penn State is better. And I think Penn State will find a way to get the win over Indiana and set up a monumentally massive clash in Nittany Lions Stadium there in Happy Valley with Penn State hosting Ohio State on Halloween. Going to be a monster game there. I think Penn State finds a way to get the win, but I think it's going to be super close. I talked about that just a second ago in my college football gambling picks to finish the first hour. So we are there's your draft pick. Honor of the Big Ten coming back. I am going to watch a college football game that I don't think will be very good. I can't wait to see what's going to happen in that Steelers-Titans game. When we bounce back, we will continue to dissect more of the college football and the NFL landscape. Much more to come. I am Clay Travis. This is Outkick the Coverage. Thanks for hanging out with us on a great Friday in October with a lot of spectacular football still to come. Encourage you to go sign up for the Outkick VIP. We had an unbelievable amount of people rushing in to sign up after they saw our most recent interview, spending the day at the Oval Office with the president. So many people out there saying, wow, Outkick has become a major media source, and we really have. And that's a credit to the people we've hired, but it's also a credit to you guys for supporting us to such an extent, and that's why I'd like for you to support us even more. Join the Outkick VIP today. You can comment on all of our articles. You can call the radio show. You can get exclusive interaction with me and Jason Whitlock and others. All you have to do is go to Outkick.com right now. Sign up for the VIP. 30% off special right now until midnight. 30% off special. If you go to Outkick.com right now, you can sign up for the VIP for an entire year. It's a great gift for someone as well.